Hello, everyone. Hi.
Hi, how are
Hi, Christy. Hi. Good to see you.
you?
Glad you're here. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Welcome. Some new students. This is great. All right, welcome. I'll let some people get connected here. Hello, welcome.
Hello.
Hi. Good evening. All right, we're going to get started because we have a lot to uncover. So students will be coming in and out of the session. If you do have class this evening at 7 or 8, please feel free to jump off. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. I'm Professor Patchke, and I work in the Ally Center as one of my roles as the ESL specialist. So I'm glad you're here in tonight's webinar. Topic tonight is Your Destination Awaits, Building Skills for Academic Success. All right, so you will see in the PowerPoint a lot of pictures of traveling. Might be nice to kind of leave right now and go on a world tour. Wouldn't that be great if we had unlimited funds? So I'm glad that you can join us. Today we are going to discuss, and I'm going to give you tips on how to equip you with 3 essential skills that you will need for academic success. These skills also do correlate with being successful in life as well. So the 3 skills are going to be building strong academic habits so that you have a reliable routine that you can trust. Number 2 is going to be applying effective learning strategies so that your study time actually sticks, it works. And then the third is going to be strengthening your self-belief, building your self-confidence so that you can continue in your studies with confidence, even when things get very challenging. Right? So I want you to think today as a roadmap. So by the end of this session, I want you to be able to walk away with strategies that you can actually begin using immediately. And that way we can increase your motivation. Okay. So let's start off. Think of your academic success as a journey. Think of it as this metaphor. Academic success as a journey towards a destination. What is that destination? So just like planning for a trip, you're not just going to show up at the airport with your ticket or a map and say, okay, I'm ready. I didn't prepare. Okay. You have to figure out where you're going. You need to figure out what you'll need along the way. You need to figure out what to pack.
Just
You also need to figure out how many funds, what do you need to take with you? Your academic journey actually works the same. If you know your destination well, if you pack the right tools, if you pace yourself, you're far more likely to succeed. And then you will arrive at your destination successfully. Okay. Unlike younger students, talking about the babies on campus, the 17 to 22-year-olds, many of you are already coming to school with a packed suitcase, right? You've been on this journey for a while in life, right? I'm talking about life. You're filled with life skills. You're filled with work experience. You have some resilience in you, okay? These challenges are real, but instead of ignoring them, we're actually going to talk about how to build and use them by using practical strategies that fit to your lifestyle, not the other way around. Okay? Though this environment can feel unfamiliar, you actually have some advantages. Okay? So we're going to talk about the 3 things: habits, strategies, and beliefs. Those 3 equal success. Okay? So before we jump into our content, I want you in the chat, the Zoom chat, to type in 1 skill. Oops, excuse me, my phone is ringing. Let me let that go here. I'll put myself on mute. I don't want to hang up on them. Give me 1 second. It's my office phone. All right, in the chat, type 1 skill that helped you succeed outside of school that you think could then transfer to being in school. What's a skill? Type it in the chat and we'll discuss it. All right, so far we have leadership, time management. Great. What's one skill that you are bringing into your studies that helped you succeed outside of school? What's one skill? We'll give plenty of time. If you're driving, you don't need to answer this. Okay, so a gym routine, that's one. So that would be consistency. Yes. Yes. Yep. And does that consistency, will it carry over? Will you be consistent in your academics? That's something to think about. All right, welcome to those who are just joining. We're just completing this activity. I'll give about another 30 seconds. Got some people joining us here. Patience. Yes, you'll need a lot of it to get through school. Yes, you will. And determination. All right. All right, about 15 more seconds. All right, great skills. Now, if those are the skills that you are bringing to college, let's see after this workshop if you can use those skills throughout your time here. I hope so. Okay. So let's begin. Let's first jump into what's in your baggage. What's in your luggage? One of the most important parts of this journey is mindset. And mindset is how you think about learning and your own abilities. That's going to be at the core. So a lot of us grew up believing that success was about naturally being smart, or that some people just have it and others don't. But that's not the case, right? Research and real life experience show us that success is rarely about talent. It's rarely about talent. It's actually what we're doing along the way. Okay. So let's look at growth mindset. The key to a growth mindset is remembering that setbacks, they're not signs of failure. They're actually signs of progress. So every mistake is a mile marker showing where you are on that journey. You're not at the end of the road. So if you're currently in the FAS course, you know today that we saw the hiker and the cable car. We looked at that metaphor, right? And to those of you, let me give you an explanation. There's this picture that comes up, and I asked students, think about this picture as a metaphor. Are you in the cable car or are you the hiker? What part of the journey are you on? So what's in your baggage? What's in your baggage? You don't have to go through this in isolation. We already know, as adults, you are juggling a lot. Look at all these things I placed on the screen. You are juggling work deadlines and schedules, maybe various work schedules, maybe if you have 2 jobs, family and caregiving responsibilities, financial pressures, the fear of returning, self-doubt, adapting to new technology, okay? Then you've got, this one did not get deleted, shopping and departure, that's not supposed to be there. You've got a lot of stuff going on. And these challenges are real, and it's important to acknowledge them. Most people just put them off and say, I'm really busy, I've got all this stuff going on, but they don't actually sit down and reflect and see what needs to change. Where do I need to reorganize or repack or redistribute? You need to be able to find ways to carry what you need or get rid of the things that you don't need when you're feeling weighed down. Okay? All right. So I want you to think about this growth mindset. Think back to a time when you learned something new, something new. Maybe it was a job skill, a hobby, using a new piece of technology. I don't know. Maybe the first time you got a Facebook account. I don't know. All right. Did you try to master it in one try? Probably not. You probably kept trying, unless you're one of those people that type A and you sat down for 5 hours and you got really frustrated and you kept trying. Probably not, though. You probably tried to master whatever that was over time, right? You persevered, you adjusted, you improved. That same strategy is what I mean by growth mindset. And that same strategy is what you will need to get through this college, LBC, okay? And some of you can attest, those of you who have been in some of these courses longer than others, you can attest to this, okay? All right. So with this journey in mind, let's start unpacking what you'll need in your travel bag first. I'm going to expand more on mindset, okay? You need this first in your travel bag. It's the first thing you need. One of the most important parts is going to be your mindset. Where are you at? What are your expectations coming to college, right? What skills do you bring to the table? So here's an equation that is going to overall equal success. On your far left, you've got your skills. Those are the study habits that you are going to put into place, like learning how to manage your time or setting up consistent weekly meetings with Ally Center or consistent study routines. They are your roadmap, those skills, those habits. In the middle, those are the strategies. These are actual learning tools like active note taking, retrieval practice, breaking down complex material into smaller chunks. These are learning materials. They are the GPS that helps you navigate. Then you have your self-belief in who you are, your confidence level. Self-belief is what keeps you pressing on that accelerator, right? It's the voice that says, I can figure this out, even if it takes more than one try, right? Without this, without the self-confidence, skills and strategies will not be able to put into action, okay? All three of these, then they relate back to growth mindset, right? Welcome to those who are just now joining us. Welcome. Oh, let me go back real quick. I want us to do something I just thought about. I want you to take 30 seconds and either on your own notes, if you're taking notes, or in the Zoom chat, I want you to write down what's one thing that you've learned in the past that seemed really challenging at first, but then you got better at it with practice. Okay? What's one thing that was extremely challenging to learn or to even begin, but then you got better with practice? Crocheting. Yes. I watch people do it, and that takes a lot of patience. So I see why you put patience there. Yes. Line dancing. Love that. Singing. Wow. Okay. LBC's got talent right here. Yeah, reading. Oh my goodness. Yes, yes, yes. That is something to learn. Yeah. Anyone else? Give about another 15 seconds. And those of you who are placing in the chat these skills, something that was really hard at first, but then you got better with that practice, have you reached your destination with that? Have you succeeded? Are you able to do that? I see some heads nodding, yes. Yeah, remaining focused. Yes, these are good. So this is proof that you already know how to grow. You had to do all these things: singing, crocheting, reading, remaining focused, line dancing. This is proof. You've already proved to yourself that you've done something challenging,
even though that goes
and
against his
you've reached a
desires, not being
certain
intimidated.
point where you are able to do it now. So you've already proved that you can do this. So let's keep going. Good evening. Thank you for those who are just now joining us. It is recorded. So if you have registered for this, this will be sent back out and you can watch the first half here that you missed. All right, so now that we've framed the journey and talked about mindset, let's now get into the foundation that keeps you moving forward. And those are strong study habits. Yes, there is discipline and persistence involved, but you need strong study habits. Growth mindset is at the core, right? So habits, see if it works here. Don't shut down on me, computer. There we go. Habits are like the daily steps that build your road, okay? Just like you're not going to wake up tomorrow morning and say, hey, professor, I'm going to go run a marathon. There's no way you're doing that. I can guarantee you're not going to do it. You're not going to do it because you haven't had regular practice. And that's what you need in your academics. Academic progress happens when we create routines. It's not just random bursts of energy, though I really wish it was at times, okay? So I'm going to break all these down for you, building strong study habits. The first one here is the importance of structured routines. Why does a routine matter? I know that life is challenging. There are many students in the adult online space that the jobs that they work, I mean, one day it's first shift, the next week it's second shift. I get it. Some days you've got your grandkids, some days you're here. I get it. But there should be at least an hour of your day that you can say, I have a routine. Remember, that's quiet time with God. If that's reading, if that's your crocheting, whatever that looks like. Because consistency leads to efficiency. Consistency leads to efficiency. You waste less time deciding when to study. A lot of us, we sit there and we say, okay, when do I begin? Yeah, I think I'm ready. No, I'm definitely not ready. We can't wait till when you're ready, right? Routine reduces procrastination because it removes that mental energy of saying, when should I start? Routine also builds momentum. So any small daily efforts are going to accumulate into big results, right? That is the importance of study routines. Think about brushing your teeth. Hope we all brush our teeth here. You don't debate it. You don't sit there and say, I think I'm going to brush my teeth. No, I'm not going to brush. Should I brush my teeth? We don't debate it. It's natural. It's become a habit. Okay. It's built into our daily life. That is the power of routine. Imagine if studying became just as automatic, just like brushing your teeth. Wouldn't that be fascinating? Okay. All right. The next section here, right in the middle, is time blocking and setting realistic goals. So you should be planning your study time just like an appointment, right? You're not gonna not show up to a doctor appointment. Typically, you're gonna call, say, hey, I can't make it today. Let's reschedule. If it's scheduled, more than likely you're going to do it because you've already carved out the time. You've already made that initial decision saying, I have to do this. So that's where time blocking comes in. Time blocking is setting aside non-negotiable chunks of time to study, to pray, to eat with your family, to do all these things, okay? You can also break large goals into small manageable goals. So if you have a 4-page paper due on Saturday, I am just praying you don't wait till Saturday morning to get it done. You should be scaffolding and breaking it down and saying, okay, how can I break this down? Okay. First would be read the instructions, right? That's the first thing. Next, you might do some research. Next, you might create a mind map of what you want to discuss in your paper. Then you're going to go to your thesis statement. Then you're going to break it down and start MLA format. There's a step-by-step process. You're not going to jump right in and do all those large goals at once. Okay. Let's briefly this might be a good point to do another quick reflection. Think about your week this week. Think about your week real quick. I'll give you 10 seconds. Think about your week. What do you have going on? Okay, this is a busy week for me. All right, think about what's going on this week in your life. Now think about where's one natural pocket of time that you could insert 25, 30-minute study session. Where's one 30-minute section that you can add in this week? I'm thinking about what I have to do this week. I'm trying to think of, okay, where can I add in my study time? Do you have it in your mind? Can you think of something that a place where you can add in 30 minutes, 15 minutes? Okay. If you can think about it, write it down. You can post it in the chat. Someone already said lunch hour. Yeah. If you have the audiobook for one of your classes, absolutely. Read the section, listen to the section. Yes. Lunch hour. Anyone else? Yeah. Yep. During dinner, yes. After I put the baby down for the night, yes. All great, yes. Just add in 15, 30 minutes. That's a great way to begin, okay? Next is going to be strong study habit is creating a distraction-free learning environment. I know this is very challenging. I have 2 young kids. I have 2 girls. One is 4 and one is 2. No, rarely am I ever alone. I can't even shower in peace. I can't use the bathroom in peace. There is no alone time. I get it. But the goal is to try and create some type of lesser distraction than normal. So what I always tell my students, if you have young kids in your home, okay, give them their snack, give them their juice, set them up for success, give them something to do. They can color, give them 30 minutes of TV, do something and say, hey, during this time, I'm going to work on my stuff and you can work on your stuff and you can do it together. Doesn't matter how old they are. If they're a newborn, enjoy that newborn phase and do it while try and do it while the baby naps, which also means I know, let the dishes pile up sometimes, okay? I know having OCD at times, many of you will say, I have to do dishes, I have to do this, I have to make the next bottle. I get it. But you will need to set yourself up for success and to focus. So try and choose a consistent study place. Is it a desk? Is it a corner in your home next to a window? Is it the kitchen table? Where is it? Then minimize digital distractions. It's harder to do environmental distractions, but you can start by minimizing digital distractions. Use focus apps. You can silence it, put it on airplane mode if you don't need it. Okay? Turn it off for 30 minutes. Also is going to be communicating boundaries. Let people in your home know now is your time to work on assignments for 30 minutes. It's going to be very important. Okay. I had an adult learner recently tell me that she studies every day at her dining table at 6 a.m. with a cup of coffee after she spends time in prayer and before her husband and her kids wake up, 6 a.m. She does probably 35, 40 minutes of just prepping for her day. That's her sacred time. So no, your space doesn't have to be fancy. It just has to be intentional. Okay. If you're a morning person, utilize that. If you're not, don't get up at 5, 6 a.m. and try to study. It's not going to work for you. All right. All right. The next study habit is going to be your study support toolkit. These are all the tools and resources. Okay. You've got planners, calendars. We live in a digital society. Use it to your advantage. Yes, still use paper. Whatever you're actually going to use it. Okay. There are many apps out, task managers, there's Trello, there's Todoist, there's focus timers, there's stuff on YouTube that you can actually play, the Pomodoro apps, you can play calming music, Forest is another one. We've got lots of apps. Also, in your toolkit, you need an accountability person, okay? You need a friend, a classmate, a professor, a mentor, someone from the Ally Center, someone that you can quickly email or even check in with, say, hey, I didn't get this done with this week. What do I do? Or yes, I did get this done. I'm ready to move on, right? Just checking in with someone and telling them what went well, what didn't go well. It does help. I want you to think of these 4 tools as your backpack for success. You don't need all of them. You just need ones that fit your learning style and your lifestyle. Okay? All right. My keyboard stopped working. 1 second. There we go. All right. So out of these 4 study habits that I just gave you, okay? Sticking to a routine, managing time effectively, avoiding distractions, and using tools consistently, which habit feels hardest for you right now? Go ahead and type it in the chat. Which one is the hardest for you? And as you read others coming in, you can clearly see they're all different. They're all different. Avoiding distractions, managing time. Give another 15 seconds. Again, the study habits are really about making the process that work for you. Okay? A routine just came in. Okay? You're trying to work with your life, not against it. A lot of people think when they come to college, I'm trying to do this, this, and this. And yes, you are making big decisions. You're changing your routine just up a bit. But again, as adults, it's different than coming and moving on campus. Okay? You need to make these routines work for you and your lifestyle. So once you've built that foundation, the next step is choosing how to learn most effectively, how to do that. Okay? And that's where strategies come in. And that's what we're going to explore next. Okay? So now that we've covered building consistent study habits, let's dig into the how. Okay. 2 things here. 2 types of learning. We've got passive and active. Now, I want you to know, not all learning is created equal. Some techniques leave you tired with very little recall, and others, they make learning actually stick. So the difference comes down to how active is your learning? Do you know if you're actively learning, or are you passively learning, right? So passive learning, this is reading notes repeatedly, highlighting everything, and listening without engaging. Okay, you're doing all the busy work, but it's not sticking long-term. Okay. Active learning, you're then going to test yourself. So you're going to do the notes, you're going to highlight, but you're not highlighting everything. You're going to summarize, you're going to pull out key concepts. You're going to teach it back to yourself. You're going to go back at the end of the week and reflect. You're going to test yourself with flashcards. Okay. You're giving a different type of effort, and then it's creating a deeper memory. So think of passive learning like watching someone else play a sport. Okay. Versus active learning would be you getting on the field. Okay. There's a difference watching someone else play and you getting on the court or on the field to play. Okay. The only skill you need here, the difference is doing. That's why I love what Nike says. What is Nike's go-to statement? You can write it, say it out loud. What is Nike's statement?
Just do.
Just do it. What is the key word here? What's the key word in just do it? Many people think I know some people are putting, many people think it's do. It's actually just. Just is, okay, you have to do it. You have to start, right? If Nike said do it, well, how many people are actually going to just do it? Just is that little push that says, okay, you can do it. Just do it. Just start, right? So I want you to be the learner that is on the field. You're on the field at LBC. You're in all the courses, and I want you to be that active learner. All right. So let's look at how to do these things. Let's look at some practical strategies. All right, some practical techniques here. I broke these down on the screen, and I'm gonna go through them more in depth as I speak. So we have spaced repetition and self-testing, okay? This is when you're gonna break study sessions into shorter repeated sessions. So instead of saying, okay, every Saturday morning, I'm gonna study for 5 hours, okay, you're gonna break it down. 45 minutes a day, okay? Instead of rereading a chapter 3 times tonight because you fell asleep the first time, you forgot what it was the second time, then you have to reread it the third. What if you say, okay, I'm going to study a bit tonight, I'm going to review it again tomorrow, and then I'm going to come back to it at the end of the week to prep for the paper that's due on Saturday. That type of spacing, which we call spaced repetition, it trains your brain to retrieve the information in a different way, then builds better or stronger memory. Okay. Next is breaking material into chunks. And we briefly talked about this already. Okay. Think of this like you trying to eat a whole pizza. Okay. You're not going to shove the whole pizza in your mouth at once. You're actually going to slice it into those 8 slices. Right now you have pieces. Information is the same way. You cannot take in all that information at once. The brain doesn't know what to do with it. It overloads the system, right? You don't want to shut down your main computer. The brain is the main computer. We don't want to shut it down, right? So we want to actually break it into smaller slices that are more manageable and easier to digest, just like your pizza, okay? So when you're note-taking, divide it into themes, divide it into content. Make the ideas more manageable, okay? If you have different vocabulary, write out the definition, examples, then give an application. You're breaking it down into smaller chunks, okay? The next practical strategy is using real-world examples. And you all bring this to the table. This is why I love teaching adults, because we are able to connect all those abstract concepts to your own life, your prior experiences, your current knowledge, your family, your work life. It's amazing, right? Let's look at reflection and journaling. You all have a powerful advantage in using real-world examples and reflecting and journaling. Why? Because you've already lived and worked in the real world. You're able to reflect more and journal what's going on in life because you have that experience, okay? So at the end of each day, at the end of each week, you should be reflecting on your real world experiences as well, okay? Organize your thoughts. What is something I learned this week? How can I connect it to my goals? Can I use it in my job? Can I use it in my marriage? Okay. Reflecting and journaling is going to build confidence. It's going to create a record of your progress. If you've journaled at a younger age, does anyone go back and kind of read what they wrote like years ago? If anyone does that, I did that recently. I found a journal of mine back in my undergrad, about 15 years ago. And I was like, oh my goodness, look at this. Look how much I've grown. It's quite funny, actually. But if you reflect and journal through this way, you will have a record of how much you've grown. Okay. All right. So with the habits and strategies in place, okay, you should have now a strong foundation, right? Again, none of it works if your discouraged thinking gets in the way. Okay. Remember that growth mindset we talked about? That's where now we're going to talk about self-belief. This is where this comes in because it's going to be a next piece of your academic journey. Okay. So we talked about the habits, we talked about the strategies. Last piece here is, do you believe in yourself? Again, setbacks equals signals. It's a signal. It's telling you something. Something's not working. A setback. It's not a stop sign. It's not telling you to give up. Okay? So I want you, instead of seeing setbacks as failure, I want you to reframe them as part of your learning process. So at the bottom here, let's go from left to right. We already talked about growth mindset perspective. Struggling means that you're stretching. Isn't that great? Struggling, I know you're not going to like this, but struggling is a good thing. It can be at times. You're really going outside your comfort zone. That's part of the learning process. Okay? Here's an example in the middle. If you miss a question on a quiz, that is not proof that you can't do it. It's just showing you where to focus on next. Okay? If you miss one thing on your paper in your MLA format, that's not telling you that you failed college. That's not what it's saying. It's telling you where you need to focus on your next paper. That's why the professor says, hey, meet with the Ally Center, work on your MLA format. That's all it is. Okay. And lastly, on the far right, detour. Okay. I want you to think of a detour on a road trip. Okay. Think of a detour on any road trip that you've taken. You didn't actually fail that trip. You just found another way to get to your destination. You need to accept that you will have setbacks. You will have detours on your academic journey. Now, if you stay there for a long period of time, that's when your professor will probably reach out and say, hey, let's meet. Hey, let's meet with the Ally Center. Okay. All right. So think of detours as maybe something's in your way and you need to step away or you need to go work around to get to your destination. Okay. So let's talk about, before we get into the biblical piece, let's go back. I'll briefly chat here about self-doubt as well. I'll give you an overview before we jump in. What does the Bible say about self-doubt? Okay. What often stops you as adult learners, it's not a lack of intelligence or ability. It's actually self-doubt. Okay. Can we attest that? Can we say self-doubt is like probably the number one? Okay. It's the voice that gets inside your head that says, I can't do this. I'm too old. And I've been out of school for too long. Okay. That's that subconscious voice telling you. Good news is self-belief isn't something that you're born with. Okay. It's something that you can build like any other skill. Okay. So doubt. It is proof that you are growing. Self-doubt often appears when we leave our comfort zone. It is a good thing at times. Okay. Now, what does the Bible say about self-doubt? Here's when I did this research. I was fascinated by this. In the Bible, almost all great leaders and prophets struggled with feelings of inadequacy or doubt, right? Moses, when God said, hey, you're going to lead the Israelites, he said, who am I? What? What are you talking about? He doubted his speaking ability. Gideon, he was called to lead Israel, and he replied, I think I'm the least in my family. My clan is the weakest. Okay. Jeremiah, he was tasked to be a prophet, and he said, I don't know how to speak. I'm too young. Okay. These are a lot of the stories in the Bible. You will clearly see doubt. Self-doubt is common. Okay. Now, let's look at this. God's power is way greater than our insecurity. Okay. the consistent biblical answer to self-doubt is not believe more in yourself. It's rather trust in the one who called you. God called you back to school for a reason, right? So back to Moses, God responds with, I will be with you. To Jeremiah, God says, do not be afraid. Okay? 2 Corinthians constantly reminds us that my grace is sufficient for you. My power is made perfect in your weakness. Okay? We need to focus on this practical application here when self-doubt appears. I can't do this. I'm too old. I'm not smart enough. Reframe your thoughts with, I'm learning day by day. I'm learning step by step. Reframe it. God has equipped me with resilience. I was brought here for a reason. Pray over scripture, meditate over scripture as an affirmation. Lord, I believe I can grow in this because you gave me the strength. Okay. You need to reframe your thoughts. Okay. But self-doubt, it's natural part of progress and growth. It's there. Okay. It's not evidence that you can't do something. It's evidence that you're attempting to do something. That's the difference with it. Right? We need to then normalize the feelings because then they will help reduce the shame. A lot of students, they're afraid to say, I experience self-doubt. We need to normalize them at first. We need to express them because we all feel them at some point. I've been teaching in higher education for quite some time, and there are days when I'm like, no, I'm not called to this. Yeah, I definitely doubt my ability. Okay. I'm right there with you. Right? Self-doubt is not a sign of weakness too. I want to let you know that as well. Okay. It often shows up when God is pushing us into growth. Okay. So just as these biblical figures, they felt small and inadequate. Did you know they all completed great higher callings? They all did that. Okay. You as learners can see doubt as part of a stepping stone into a meaningful challenge. Yes, it will be challenging. Yes, you will doubt your abilities frequently. Okay. But when we step into learning a new challenge, our confidence doesn't need to come only from our own strength. You know that, right? We anchor it in our faith. We know that weakness is not the end of our story. Okay, we know that. All right. Again, self-doubt is not a disqualification for who you are. Okay. It's often the prelude to growth and God's empowerment. Right? Just like the spiritual piece here, your academic journey is the same. You're not traveling this alone. You shouldn't be carrying all this weight around, right? So let's go here. Let's do a review briefly. As a pun, we've traveled a lot today. Yes, we have, right? We have traveled on habits, strategies, and belief. And now, with the time that we have left, it's time to bring it all together. Okay? So again, to recap, habits give you stability. They are your consistent rhythm. These are the daily steps that keep you steady on the road. Those are your habits. Strategies. Your strategies give you direction. These are the tools that make your learning more effective so that you're not just working harder, but you're working smarter. And then your belief, your self-confidence. Your belief is the fuel. It's also the mindset. It's that inner voice and mindset that reminds you that setbacks, they're not stop signs, okay? They're simply just detours to your destination, okay? When these three pillars come together, you then have a strong foundation of academic success, okay? So I want you to continuously think of your journey here as a road trip. What destination are you trying to reach? Every mile that you put in, like every class that you put in, that brings progress towards graduation. Every rest stop, though you rarely get any rest stops here in the online space. You rarely get a break, but every rest stop, that's a chance to refuel. And sometimes the detours that you will encounter, they're going to show you lessons that you never expected. Okay. Some of you, you just started out, I would say a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. No, you're nowhere near your destination. Okay. That's a fact. But guess what? You're already on the road. You're there. Okay. That is a victory in itself. If you have made it to week 2, you're doing well. All right. All right. With these strategies and habits in place, you should have a strong foundation now to work on some areas this week. Let's look at 3 things that I want to leave you with from this webinar. 3 things. Number 1 is to stay consistent in your habits. Okay. Number 2 is to be intentional in your strategies. And number 3 is to nurture your belief in yourself through Christ every day. Every day. Okay. Academic success, most people think they're just going to wake up and they're going to have it. They're going to know it all. It's not a single event. It's a lifelong journey. Learning is a lifelong journey. Okay. And I can honestly say today, you've actually taken that next step. By attending the webinar, you've taken another step forward in your journey. Okay. That's something to be very proud of. I put the Ally Center email down at the bottom. If you are struggling, you're in week 2, if you are struggling with writing, time management, study strategies, you need some type of accommodation, you have a learning disability, IEP, ESL learner, you need language support, you need advising, the Ally Center has it all. Please reach out if you need assistance. We'd be happy to schedule even a brief 15-minute phone call, 30-minute meeting to do an assessment and to see where you're at. Where do you need support? Okay. Our time is up. Okay. I had to get through this. And we made it with, let me see, 11 minutes to spare. That's pretty doggone good. All right. Talk about time management, guys. I was rushing through that because I wanted to make sure we had plenty of time. All right. Would anyone like to share before we head out? Give us like 3 minutes. Would anyone like to share what's something you want to take from this webinar and use it this week? Anything?
Hi, this is Dorothy, and
Hi,
I
Dorothy.
to say thank you so much for this webinar. You don't know, I was struggling
Uh-huh.
with my thoughts. My thoughts kept saying, "Oh, you're not going to make it," or "You're the least," or you're probably the lowest person in the class. And the problem was, well, it's not a problem. When I graduated with my undergrad, I graduated with honors with a very great GPA.
Yeah.
Now I started here, and it's just like I felt like I was struggling, and I felt the struggling was telling me, "You're not going to make it. You need to get out of this. You're too old now." And I was constantly, but in one part of my mind, a little part was saying, keep going, keep going. And I'm so glad I took this webinar because it was that thing that I needed to say, you can
Good.
do this. The
Mhm.
struggles don't mean that you're not going to make it. It means you're growing and you're stretching.
Mhm.
And it's okay. So thank you so much, and continue to teach this to students because we really do need it.
You're welcome. It's a pleasure having you. Absolutely. Yes. This is recorded. This will be sent out to you as well for you to have in the future. Yes.
Thank you.
I'm glad that this was just a simple reminder. You're right. Yeah. And a lot of it starts with that mindset. You're choosing to do this, right? You're not coming to college and to sit on your butts at home, right? You have to put in the work. It's roughly about 15, 17 hours per class a week. Okay. It's a lot of work, right? So I'm glad you're here. Anyone else?
I just needed reinforcement.
Hi, Christy. I'm happy to see you.
Just reinforcement. Like,
Mm,
doing your BA, and it comes back to me as you, of course.
Oh,
It gets harder and harder as you go along.
it does.
When I read through everything before classes started, and I'm like, I'm gonna kill her.
You're gonna kill me.
Like I kept hearing you but you can do it, Christy.
Yes, you can do it. You can.
I will.
Yeah. Reach out, please.
Oh, I will.
Okay, absolutely. Anyone else? What's one thing you're gonna take? I'm glad that this was just a simple reminder to everyone. Anyone else? One thing you're gonna take away from this webinar and utilize it. Someone posted in the chat. Yeah, breaking your study time into smaller time sessions. Yes. Do not do it all at once at 2 a.m. Don't do it. Don't do it. No, struggling is not a failure. You haven't failed. No. Though it is incredibly hard to get back up. Yes, it is. Yep. Yeah. All right, it's coming in the chat. So not overwhelming yourself. Yes. Slow and steady. Yes. Use every opportunity as a learning opportunity. Have that open mindset. Take all the feedback you can from your professors. Yes. I'm making a schedule. Yes. Make it a habit. Absolutely. Wonderful. All right, it's 6:52 here on the East Coast, wherever you're coming from. Thank you for joining me in today's session. I will send out this PowerPoint and the recording for you to have. All right. Thank you. Enjoy week 2. If you need anything, please reach out to the Ally Center. One of us will email you back and schedule you with an appointment. Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone.